dire times. So many dead. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Yeah, I'm a sergeant major in the Combat Engineer Corps elite unit called Yalom for special missions. I'll share a bit more about that in a second. I made my immigration, my aliyah to Israel in 1999. What's that, almost 25 years ago. I grew up here in Israel. I was drafted, as we're all mandatorily drafted to the army. Everyone's got to serve. It's the People's Army here. And so men serve 3 years, women serve 2 years. Men stay on with reserves. Mostly it's men on with the reserves till age 45, or unless we have 6 kids. Our unit specializes in sabotage missions, rescuing hostages, tunnel warfare, underwater, dealing with mines, dealing with explosives, dealing with very extreme situations that the Army's not prepared for. That's why we're an elite unit. Special tasks. You know, we are the superior unit, the flagship unit, the professionals of the combat engineers. As you know, 360,000 reserves or so, more than that, have been called up to serve. It's the largest draft that Israel's ever had in our history, and it's a significant step. As you know, there's a ground incursion happening right now. The death tolls from the barbaric terror, grotesque massacre stands around 1,500 or so. Exact numbers I don't have now, about 3,500 injured. And it's quickly becoming an international incident. You know, there's Hezbollah have shot rockets, Syria has shot rockets, and even Iran has said they want to weigh in and they want to stop any dismantling of the Hamas. And that is our goal, to dismantle the Hamas entirely. And so, of course, we've asked the innocent Palestinians to evacuate to Sinai, to evacuate to Egypt, and let us remove this evil, dark regime. What was done to us is despicable. It's dark. It's barbaric, and it's just grotesque. And for anyone to downplay that, for anyone to try to downplay what was done to us, it's like the Holocaust. It's like what the Nazis did to us. It's just straight up murder. And for anyone to downplay that, they're complicit to murder. They're complicit to these acts, these barbaric acts. But now, you know, a few weeks ago, you know, life was normal. Palestinians would be able to come in from the Gaza Strip. We just checked them for bombs. We checked them for weapons, guns, knives, pistols. We say, all right, you're able to come through, you're able to work. You're able to work, and we building a future, you know, and all of our signs, street signs in English, Hebrew, Arabic. But, you know, Palestinians chose one way, and then there's the Israeli Arabs chose a life of peace, a life of as fellow citizens. After the war in 1948, they chose to build, to serve as fellow citizens, to shop. But those people said they do not want to. They hate Israel with religious rage. Members of the Al-Qassam brigades and other highly trained operatives from Gaza had been training for well over a year on exactly how they'd take out the cameras, how they would come in by land, by air, and be able to come even from underground and to coordinate a devastating carnage on Israeli innocent people, and not only on the villages. There was also this peace festival, celebrating peace, hoping for a future of peace with Arab and Jew. And right into a peace festival, they went and massacred hundreds of people, burning people alive. And I had to go there myself and see Nazi-like execution of women, children, in the villages, blood everywhere, machine gunning down people in the porta potties. Of course, they've taken more than 100 Israeli civilians, maybe 150 hostage. I don't know what they're doing to them there. As concerning the raping, there are testimonies of some of the Hamas people that we've been able to capture, and they've shared testimonies of how they did these despicable acts of rape to dirty the Jewish women, and that corroborates other footage and other things that are there. So part of my job in our elite unit is to go and restore security to our borders and to scour for these terrorists. And so, yes, I've had to see more dead bodies than I'd ever want to see in my lifetime in the last few days. And I know this regime even for the sake of the Palestinians, this regime must be dismantled at all costs. And that is what we're going to do. Anyone who served in the army anywhere, in any country, knows the difference between a terrorist and an armed combatant. Okay, there's a difference. Terrorists are one who engage in active terror, like taking airplanes hostage, murdering people for the sake of murder, trying to overthrow Western society through grotesque acts of violence or to get media attention, taking children hostage, very things that have been done and are done all the time as their goal, as their stated goal, and we were able to see some of the plans laid out again for over a year, which show go to this village of innocent people, go take kids, kill children, kill as many as possible, take as many hostages as possible. It's very different from the Israeli Defense Force. Even in our name is the word defense, Israeli Defense Force. And so what we do is, you have to know this, like if all the terrorists lay down their guns, there will be peace in the Middle East. But if we lay down our weapons, Israel will be no more. We would all be murdered, and this place would no longer exist. I myself, like every soldier, is trained in the Israeli purity of arms, which states that every soldier must take his weaponry and his power, all his defense tools, and use them only to fulfill the mission and solely to the extent required, and maintaining his humanity at every level, even in combat, doing everything in our power to always minimize any casualties of non-combatants. And I've been in many, many missions. I've been in the Second Lebanon War, multiple wars and operations in Gaza. Many things also I'm not allowed to talk about due to security clearance reasons. But we do everything to avoid civilian casualties. We do everything to like dropping leaflets from a plane in Arabic saying, please evacuate this area. This area has rocket launchers underground and will be leveled. Get out of this area, please. Calling, having Arabic speakers call phones, hack phones, and call SMS campaigns over every single one, tracking the SMSs and warning people. I don't know any army in the world who does anything close to this. That's why I'm so proud to serve in the Israel Defense Force. And I would argue we are the most, if not one of the most humanitarian armies on the planet. But we are dealing with an extremely complicated situation right now where terrorists have embedded themselves in civilian areas, underneath hospitals. And we're trying everything we can to minimize the casualties. I know there will be and have been casualties. But just know it's a very complicated and intricately sophisticated situation, and we're doing everything in our power. Our hearts are that no innocents will be hurt ever. You know, my friends here are feeling a roller coaster of emotions, myself included. Shock. How could this even happen? Extreme sadness. We all know, it's a very small country. We all know someone who has been killed, or maybe someone who knows someone who's been kidnapped. And you know, some cousin, some friend who's in the hospital injured. And I was on the phone with a girl just the other day, and she says, you know, she barely made it out with her life from the party, Nova Festival, Peace Festival. And, you know, but then there's this, this determination. We have to end this wicked regime. We have to, for the sake of our kids, for the sake of the future. We cannot stop halfway until the job is complete, until the mission is completed. Also, there's some people that are afraid. There's people that are afraid of dying in the rubble of Gaza. There's people that are worried about their families' safety from rockets, you know, on their heads while we're in here. And there's people wondering, will there be multiple fronts? Syria, Lebanon. What about, will there Houthi rebels come from the south? What will happen with Egypt? You know, Iran says they want to join and to attack us as well. I mean, they've been saying that for a long, long time. So the emotions are, we are determined. We are united, though, very united in purpose. This will never happen again. Like, is the plan still on to dismantle Hamas completely and entirely? Are we going to stop halfway through? No, we are not wavering. We don't come here and waver. We stick with our word, and it's judgment day for Hamas. They've oppressed not only Israel, they've oppressed their own people. they've oppressed the Palestinian people for too long. I remember years ago, there was a wedding, and they said, we outlaw any celebrations. And there was someone who wanted to get married, a Palestinian. He went in, and he was getting married. They took him from the actual wedding, and they dragged the groom, killed the bride, dragged the groom, from one of their motorcycles until he was dead. It's Judgment Day for Hamas. The bombing of Damascus, absolutely, yes, I know about that. There has been, for a long time now, this Shiite corridor. Well, the Shiites in Iran want to connect with the Alawites, which are also Shiites, minority ruling Syria, and they want to connect a corridor to our border of weapons and stockpiles and caches. And we know about all this. We see it, and we eliminate this supply train, this supply line of weapons and missiles that are going to try to attack us from the Golan Heights, which we, in 1967, the Six-Day War, that came back into the biblical stewardship of, biblically promised stewardship of the sons of Israel. So we stopped that Shiite corridor, and they continually tried to bring it in, and they thought if they bring it into the airport in Aleppo, that it would be okay. But no, we are going to stop it even from coming in there from Iran to Aleppo. So not only am I Sergeant Major in the Elite Combat Engineer Corps called Yalom for Special Missions, I'm also the Chairman and Executive Director of the Aliyah Return Center. So this is a charity, it's been around for many years, which I'm a co-founder of, and we help new immigrants who have made their Aliyah, their immigration. It talks about it 700 times in the Bible, that God's going to gather us back. And so they need food, clothing, shelter, Hebrew language training, job training, placing them in jobs. And so we do that. But now we're also, of course, helping all these families who are fleeing from the south, fleeing from rocket fire and terror. And they need so many supplies and so many things. And we're also equipping the heroes that are defending on the front lines. And they are in need of basic critical supplies. So if you want to help us in this campaign, which is called Emergency Aid Initiative, please go right now and donate. In a world of a lot of fake news, thank you for taking the time to get to know me and to hear what's going on for real from the front lines. And thank you for praying for Israel. God has a great plan for all the sons and daughters of Abraham, even for Arabs, even for Jews. He's got a great plan, and we're going to get there together. Pray for us. Pray for us that the barbarism will be taken out. Pray for us and stand with us so we can help many, many more families in need and heroes who are in need of critical supplies. God bless you from the front.